compliment, Shades.
Hello, and welcome to the E Potibus Unum podcast. I'm Eitan.
I'm Dan.
And as always, you can reach us at ePotibus on Gmail and at Twitter. Please also click on the link in the show notes to become a supporter for as little as 99 cents a month. Anything and everything is really appreciated to help us out.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And, you know, if it's not 99 cents, if you got 59 cents.
Yeah, that's true. Anything.
We'll take that.
We'll take it.
If the thing goes that low, does it go that low?
You could add other amounts. It could be
like that song. Shorty got low, low, low. We'll take 9 cents. That's how low we're willing to go.
Yeah.
You know, in your apple bottom jeans. We are.
Yeah. So on today's podcast, we'll be discussing
the failing Democratic times.
Yep.
It's basically about how the Democrats are really bad at messaging. They're horrible. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it.
They're not as good as you, are they?
No, I'm the best. I'm the best.
You're also a lunatic.
Yes, I have a lot of psychological problems, malignant narcissism or whatever.
Dementia.
Dementia, yeah. But yeah, well, who's perfect? No one's perfect.
All right. But first, oh my God, there's so much.
Too much.
This week. We're only 10 days, 11 days as of this recording into 2020.
Mm-hmm.
My God, it feels like it's another year.
This is our new normal.
Seriously. Well, we can't let it be. We can't let it be.
I agree.
So, all right. I'm going to quote Ben Rhodes here, who said, I'm guessing that if Iran announced it wasn't abiding by the JCPOA, which is the Iran deal limits, the counter-ISIS mission was suspended, the Iraqi parliament voted to expel U.S. forces, and Iran fired off ballistic missiles at U.S. bases, no one would say Obama had a win. And of course, the mainstream media is saying, "Oh, what a win it was that we killed Soleimani and we're not in a full-fledged war." I mean, when you set the bar that low, that's the problem, is that they set the bar relative. In being president of the United States, you cannot set a bar relative. It has to be the same for everyone.
Absolutely.
For the office.
Yeah. And, they're not thinking about the unintended consequences, which will surely come, not necessarily from Iran, but from places, groups that are funded by Iran.
Exactly, yeah.
And, also...
And it gives them plausible deniability.
Yeah. Totally. They're like, it's not us. Because actually that kind of stuff, when you do that, it inspires the average person who maybe isn't like, a total extremist, and inspires them to be like, holy shit, this is an attack on an Islamic country. Even that's why at the funeral, you had a lot of moderates.
Yeah.
Also at the funeral, suddenly they're bonding.
Exactly.
With the really strident.
The JCPOA was a first step in normalizing relations, in lowering tensions, in bringing Iran into the international community.
Exactly.
Yeah, it might have taken a decade or two, but also stopped them from having a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
Which they have now said, well, fuck you, we are going all in on developing our nuclear program.
Right. So now, what are we going to do? We're going to go in and take over Iran because they want to start a nuclear,
a country 3 times larger than Iraq. I mean, with zero plan.
Yeah.
Zero plans whatsoever.
And tentacles all over the Middle East.
Yeah. They assassinated someone in the 90s in Argentina, a Jewish group in Argentina. I mean, they're out there. So a quick history of what happened. This started with Trump pulling out of the Iran deal, the JCPOA, for literally no other reason than to spite Obama.
There were imminent attacks that I can't really talk about because they're secret?
You're right. So then, on December 27th, a barrage of rockets killed an American contractor and wounded 4 U.S. service members on a base in northeastern Iraq. The U.S. blamed the attack on Iranian-backed militia with ties to Iran's elite Quds force, led by Soleimani. And on December 29th, they responded with strikes on 5 targets in Iraq and Syria that left at least 24 militia fighters dead. Then, because of that, angry protesters, led by a larger umbrella group of Shiite militias, storming the embassy in Baghdad. They were finally forced out, but they set the reception area on fire. There were no casualties in that. And Pompeo said that was an Iran-backed terrorist attack. So then, 2 Fridays ago, Soleimani was killed in a U.S. drone strike in retaliation for that. The administration officials said Soleimani was plotting attacks on Americans in the Mideast. It was an imminent threat, but then couldn't name a single place.
It's all bullshit.
time or specific threat. Iran then fired 22 missiles at 2 Iraqi bases housing U.S. troops. They were the kind of missiles that allow for an early warning system. So there were several hours that the U.S. had for an early warning system. Luckily, there were no casualties again. Who would have thought we'd be saying the words that in this situation, Iran was the rational ones and said, we do not want war. This is our response. What's over is over.
But there's unintended consequences. Like I was saying before, it's like we don't know what the other groups are going to do.
And because they were on such high alert, and they have a strong military, but it's not, like the U.S. military. Yeah. So there was human error. They saw a civilian plane that took off from Tehran, headed toward Ukraine, and mistook it and shot it down and killed 176 people. Yeah. So these are the unintended consequences.
Yeah. And that happens all the time in war. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had that situation, Russia shot down a plane, when they were in the Ukraine.
This administration just can't get their lies right. Mike Pompeo said there's specific information on embassies but we don't know when. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien yesterday on NPR admitted that they had no idea of if, when, or how a threat would occur, if at all.
When Barack Obama, when he took out Osama bin Laden, okay, he alerted Congress, okay?
Right.
He alerted them beforehand. He told McConnell and he told everyone beforehand that he was going to take him out.
As he is legally... Well, they have 48 hours, but he's legally required to do that. And he can't put out a tweet that says, hey, by the way, if I tweet anything, that counts as me informing.
Right,
that is not
but
informing Congress.
He did it right before he did it,
He did it the correct way.
Because he's like...
He followed the rule of law. The fallout from this actually ties into impeachment, which is the second bit of but first. But it also has to deal with messaging. He didn't inform Congress in a timely manner of an extrajudicial assassination. Then he comes out, he gives a statement where he's slurring his words.
Your campaign of terror, murder, mayhem will not be tolerated any longer. These historic accomplishments shades.
And that is another form of neural degradation, of dementia. To put things in perspective, Obama's tan suit was a 3-day news cycle.
Yeah.
3 days. There is nothing on the mainstream media about the fact that the president of the United States cannot form a coherent sentence, cannot enunciate his words.
The op-ed published in the failing New York Times by an anonymous, gutless coward.
That's what's so no drama about Obama is that they had to make up drama in the form of a tan suit, which, by the way, there are pictures of Reagan wearing a tan suit. Well, there's 2 pictures of him out
Reagan
there.
was white and a Republican.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's like, really, guys? Like, they don't, the stuff they take up is just so asinine.
Oh, it is. They have to make up drama.
But we also have to, get in there and start messaging.
Yeah.
This is a war.
You had mentioned the briefing that he gave when fucking Mike Lee comes out and says that this is the worst briefing he has ever experienced.
He's like a liberal Republican, isn't he?
Worst briefing I've seen, at least on a military issue, in the 9 years I've served in the United States Senate.
No fucking way is he a liberal Republican. No fucking way is he a liberal Republican. And you know what? Fuck him. Because seriously, when he won't say stand up to Trump for anything, anything, kids in cages, environmental catastrophes, his war on the American people through the environment, his war on American people through his tax giveaway, and then it's something he just personally finds offensive.
Yeah.
That is offensive to all Americans. And same with, his puppy dog, Rand Paul, who's just stood there.
Yeah, no, that was ridiculous.
I mean, basically, everything is a lie.
Yes.
Now, getting into, now this is how it ties into impeachment. There's a lot of things happening with impeachment.
Yeah.
I guess the segue would be that Trump then admits that Republicans in the Senate had pressured him, or he had felt pressure from them, to deal with Soleimani. And in a new quid pro quo or bribery, he chose the option of assassinating Soleimani. On MSNBC last Saturday, commentator Danielle Moody Mills made the case that if the president of the United States invokes his War Power Act to extrajudiciously assassinate Soleimani solely for the point of distracting the public from impeachment, that would be grounds for another article of impeachment.
Yeah. No, agreed. And, the Dems have to keep on messaging that this is all a lie, and they have to brand Trump as a liar and use the word liar.
They do have to say the word liar. Constitutional scholar and Harvard law professor Lawrence Lessig wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post outlining how it would be a violation of the law to have McConnell and perhaps a few other Republicans take the oath to be, quote, impartial jurors. A false oath is considered perjury. And as we learned in the Clinton impeachment trial, Republicans said, a president can't commit perjury, which he can't.
Yeah.
They did. They said that. They said that about me, guys.
So certainly a senator cannot commit perjury. So when McConnell comes out and says that he won't even pretend to be a fair and impartial juror, then if he takes the oath that they have to take as jurors, that senators have to take as jurors, then that is perjury.
Yep.
And there's precedent for this. Lessig points out that from 1864 to 1884, senators had to take an oath to the Union. And if it were clear that the person could not honestly take that oath, then he was not permitted to take it and thus unable to serve as a senator. Massachusetts Senator Charles Sumner said, quote, a false oath taken with our knowledge would compromise the Senate. We who consent will become parties to the falsehood, meaning that anybody who knows that the senator is perjuring him or herself is party to that, which in a regular trial, holds you liable as accountable.
Is anyone, are any Democrats taking any of this kind of thing seriously?
Well,
are they talking about this? Are they?
We won't be able to
Is
see
this a strategy that's even happening?
I haven't heard anyone talk about this. Some Democrats have called for McConnell to recuse himself, but the real question is, will Chief Justice John Roberts, who presides over the trial, allow someone who openly and flagrantly commits perjury to be a sitting juror in a trial? And if he does allow this, then that is an extremely dangerous precedent that just further undermines our democracy as Republicans and the Republican Party has been doing for these many, many years. George Conway and Neil Katyal, who is a law professor at Georgetown University, author of Impeach, the Case Against Donald Trump, and previously served as the acting Solicitor General of the United States, wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post explaining how, since Mitch McConnell has vowed to violate his oath as a juror and as a senator in favor of a sham trial, that Pelosi should only hand over the obstruction of Congress article of impeachment, just the one. The other option is she could transmit them both along with a House-approved provision advising the Senate that if it fails to obtain adequate witnesses and documents, the House will reopen the investigation into Article 1 and subpoena that material itself. So this would keep the impeachment going. They favor handing over just the one article at the time. Throughout the 15 impeachments throughout U.S. history, right, 3 presidents, other
judges
officers,
and all that. Yeah.
There's never been one without witnesses.
Yeah.
There hasn't been imagine a regular
There's no
jury
trials
trial
without witnesses.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
Okay. Second, McConnell, like all repugs, just simply lie. He's trying to gaslight us that they're following the Clinton rules. This is nothing short of a lie. One, Ken Starr had investigated for over a year, and all the witnesses were already called in the investigation. 2, Clinton didn't have an attorney general like William Barr, whose sole purpose has been to cover up his crimes, right?
Protect the president.
Right. And because he has consistently violated his duty and his oath of office, the New York Bar Association has called for William Barr to be disbarred. Disbar Barr. Yeah.
Disbar Barr.
For covering up his crimes. And the third reason that McConnell is gaslighting America by saying that they're following the Clinton rules is that the opposition party controlled the Senate. Clinton was a Democrat, Republicans controlled the Senate. There's absolutely no way that we are following the Clinton rules whatsoever. Yeah. That's it for the 2 big but firsts. Hey, Dan, what's up?
Dude, you know what's up? Anchor.
Yeah, Anchor is what's up.
It is the best and easiest way to make a podcast, bar none.
Oh, absolutely. It's totally free.
Yeah. So, gratis. Yeah. That's Latin for free. Like, that's how good this thing is. Awesome. We're using Latin, dude.
Yeah.
Shit's getting real.
And you can record and edit the podcast right from your phone or your computer. You don't have to have fancy stuff. We have fancy stuff. We're fancy people.
We are very fancy.
We're like the humble, fancy people. Yeah.
But, we're of the people, though.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about Anchor. Anchor is for the people.
Right.
any kid with a phone can just do it.
And you can make money off of it with no minimum listenership.
Yeah, exactly. Anchor hooks you up with sponsors.
Hell yeah.
And you just do ads for them.
You just
and
do what
you get paid.
And they'll distribute the podcast everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcast,
Google,
podcasts, you name it.
That.
They'll go to space for you. They love you. Yeah.
Dude,
Anchor.
It's crazy. It's free. And it has a lot of great tools. You can do these little videos for like social media and stuff that they make for you. And it's amazing. And it's free.
So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Yeah, that's anchor.fm. Do it, guys. Start your own podcast.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to talk about is these Dems. I'm telling you, they fail so hard, okay?
The service they give us.
The service, the agita. So during the whole Mueller thing, right?
Hey.
You had a situation where here you have 2 years where you could be, giving the message, where you can be owning the narrative, right? And they do nothing. All they said was, oh, well, we're going to see what the report says, blah, blah, blah. That's bullshit, okay? Because here you had Trump had Pence, Pompeo, and that's not even all the P's. He had Sean Spicer, Sarah Sanders. He had the whole executive branch of the U.S. government. But wait, there's more.
There's more?
There's more. He also had the Republican Congress, all of the Republican Senate. But wait, there's even more.
What?
They had all the PACs pumping money into Facebook, and their message was very simple. No collusion, no obstruction. Okay? They pumped that message out everywhere. But wait.
There's more?
There's still more. They had Fox News and the dozens of right-wing neocon, Twitter, and all the conservative radio shows. Mm-hmm. All of this whole messaging machinery pumping out the message, no collusion, no obstruction. One guy who was in the Trump administration who's like, was a reasonable guy. He said, there was stuff that I didn't believe, but it would get into my head because of how they repeated it over and over and over.
Well, that's how you message.
And in communication, we call this cycling. You have to reinforce these things into people's heads, okay? Mm-hmm. You have someone like Trump. What word would you use to describe him? If you could say it in one word.
Psychotic.
Another word would be liar, right? Have you ever met or known anyone in your family or friends who lies as much as Trump?
No. And that I know some pretty dramatic people.
Right. Have you ever heard of any other president who's lied as much as Trump?
No.
You could take all the lies by every president, congressperson, senators, right? And you take all the lies together and they don't equal the lies that Trump has made in 3 years.
The Washington Post has him at over 15,000 lies in 3 years. That's
That's literally a crazy number. I don't know I've never known anyone who lies like that.
No.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Most Americans don't, because people who lie like that, they're probably, seriously speaking, probably institutionalized.
Yeah.
He has gone away with this for one big reason, is because his dad was, a multimillionaire. He's never worked for anyone else. He worked for his dad, right? And then with the millions from his dad,
who bailed him out several times.
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. With the millions of dollars from his dad, with his dad's lawyers, his dad's connections, with his dad's relationships with politicians, mm-hmm. He built his own business. So he's always been the boss. Because the average person, right? Do you think the average person at a job could get away with lying as much as he does?
Oh, God, no.
So basically, one big word to describe him as a liar, right? How many times did Chuck Schumer use the word liar on Twitter?
I'm going to say 0.5. 0.5 times. He probably wrote L-I and stopped.
How many?
Grandpa Chuck.
Okay. All right. No. One time he used the word liar and he was referring to Putin. How many times did Trump use the word liar?
200 times.
No. It was surprisingly low, but I think some of the tweets have been deleted. But 60 times, right? And he's calling everybody a liar, including Chuck and all this. But the thing is, he's the real liar, and he lies so much. Chuck should have been calling him out as a liar constantly. And this is a huge, huge problem when you don't call out the reality of the situation. When you act like business as usual, nobody pays attention to you. We have to act as if our lives are on the line because they are on the line. We're not getting that. We have to be bold and we have to fight back. One of the big reasons Trump is so popular is because he fights back. He's like, what's his name in that movie where shit happens? And then he's like, I'm not going to take it anymore. And he fights back. Han Solo.
Oh.
What's his name? Remember those movies in the 90s? Harrison Ford. Remember those movies in the 90s where he was like the everyman and then crazy shit went down and people are shooting at him and he's got to like escape for his life?
Like Witness?
The one where they accused him of something that he didn't do and then he's running around.
Fugitive?
The Fugitive.
Okay.
That's the, the everyman. He gets in a situation.
I thought you meant like Charles Bronson in Death Wish.
No,
I'm sick
that
of taking
too.
the shit of people murdering my family.
There you go. That too. It's like, and that's what we need from this fucking Democratic Party. I'm sorry to say it. They're a bunch of pussies, and I don't mean vagina. We mean pussy cats.
Dan, you
there
know
is
what
a difference.
And I'm a huge hockey fan, right?
Yeah, you are the biggest you're the biggest sports fan I know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we need an enforcer. We need someone, we need a Democrat in a very blue district who can go out there and be the enforcer. What's an enforcer, Eitan?
So in hockey, enforcer, it's an unofficial role.
I'm listening.
Yeah. It's like, the tough guy or the fighter or someone. And the enforcer's job is to deter and respond to like dirty and violent plays by the opposition.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So when this happens, the enforcer is expected to respond really aggressively by fighting or checking the offended party.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're expected to react even harsher against like goalies or other star players.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly...
That is all me, by no way a Wikipedia lookup. That was all me.
Listen, we looked up enforcer on Wikipedia because this is what we need an enforcer. And you know what? We read that definition and we're like, that's exactly what we need. Someone in a very blue district who's not going to suffer, but will probably become more popular because finally, they're going to see someone is fighting for our fucking values. Someone is fighting back against these assholes.
Yeah. So you have some examples of no clapbacks.
Right. Now, this is, just some of the things. One of the things that's really important that Republicans do really well, they go not only for someone's weakness, they go for their strengths. All I can say is one word, swift boat.
Yeah.
Okay? They went for the strengths of John Kerry, who was a decorated soldier, right? That was his huge strength.
Yeah.
He's a war hero. They went after him for that. So, like I've been saying before, the same battlefield, we got to get on there. So you got Nikki Haley, right? Great success story. Her parents came over from India. They're Sikhs. They came over and her parents built a $1 million company, multi-million-dollar company, like a fashion company called Exotica or something, right?
Okay.
And she got her first job, by pulling her bootstraps up, like they say. No, she got a job at her rich parents' company.
Well, that's like a little mini Trump thing. Except I'm guessing her parents aren't rumored to have been part of the KKK, like Trump's father.
Probably not. Yeah. But she didn't exactly, pull herself up from her bootstraps. So the reason I'm bringing her up is because she had the audacity to say that Democrats have an allegiance to terrorists.
Oh, I saw that.
That, to me, is a red line. It's beyond the pale. Once you do that, all bets are off. I'm going to go hardcore on you, and I'm going to be an enforcer, and I'm going to break your jaw.
You're right.
Like the enforcer, we have to go in, and we have to destroy them so that next time they think twice about saying some bullshit like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because, we will bring up your personal shit. We will bring up, all bets are off when you do that. This is an example of the kind of messaging, maybe a tweet that you would use against her, okay?
At Nikki Haley, who many say can't even be loyal to her husband, is going to tell Dems they're disloyal. That's a joke. Hashtag Nikki Haley disgrace.
Did Trump give a shit going after Hillary's husband who wasn't even running for president? He literally brought up women who would accuse them of stuff, right? Yeah. Was that personal? Look, we got to get a little into the mud here. We weren't white enough to be white. We weren't black enough to be black. That's at Nikki Haley.
Isn't she of Indian descent?
Right. So what we're saying is, well, you're certainly enough of a liar to be a Republican. Hashtag Republican. Good job. You found out who you really are.
Nice. Yeah, okay. That's
hashtag Nikki Haley disgrace.
Yeah.
So that's her true self. She's just a liar, just like the rest of them. And there's one more. I actually have a bunch, but you can read the last one, Anton.
My father wore a turban, and I remember we would get teased at Nikki Haley. So you go out and work for the most racist party you can find? Wow. The one whose president describes where your parents came from as a, quote, shithole country? Hashtag Nikki Haley disgrace.
Exactly.
Mike.
I mean, she's a hypocrite. She's just like, it's just unbelievable. And this woman has the nerve to ally, Dems with terrorists. Shame on you, Nikki Haley.
I think as Democrats, our issue is that we are still stuck in an age where we think people will debate the facts. We have facts and they have emotions, and all they do is prey upon emotion. I was listening to an Ezra Klein interview the other day, and he was saying as he was watching the impeachment debate, you heard Democrats talk about this is what happened. Here's, A, B, C, D. They lined up just like, you would make a case. And Republicans would come up, look into the camera and just say, Democrats hate you. They are trying to overturn your president that you elected.
Exactly. And what's interesting, too, is I was listening to something today on NPR. It was really interesting because they were talking about debates, right? And it's this whole thing about debaters, who compete in schools and high schools and colleges. And it goes back to Aristotle. There's three forms of debate or three, the three kind of foundations. But one of them is emotion,
Yeah.
That's one of the ones. It's not merely logic, but it's also the emotional part. And that's the part of debate and messaging and communication that unfortunately the Dems are really soft on. But I'm saying we need enforcers to go out and punch, because another thing is the enforcer can give less strident Democrats cover. So the enforcer will say some crazy shit. And here's the thing. It's about owning the news cycle, okay? There's a reason Trump won. Another reason is because he was all over the goddamn news. If you get a crazy person to say some fucked up shit about some of these Republicans, newsflash, they're going to be on the news. And that message is going to get out there.
Yeah, and we have the added advantage that we can say it in a way that will dominate the news cycle, but we don't have to lie. We could just call them out in plain English.
Exactly. That's the thing. We have the truth on our side.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We don't have to make shit up. We have the truth on our side. You have a reporter go to a Nancy Pelosi and say, oh, blah, 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 said this thing. That's pretty hardcore, blah, blah. Well, she can say, well, I don't agree with how he said it, but that is a fact. So you're right. It's more messaging. You get the message out there. Message. We talked about, Mueller and all that, but one more recent example is during the impeachment hearings when Matt Gaetz had the audacity to talk about Hunter Biden, right? Hunter Biden was in a car and they found drugs and he was drinking, et cetera, et cetera.
And by the way, Hunter Biden has come clean about his past and has sobered up, and he has talked about it openly, and much to his credit.
Right. And then, so here's the thing. Matt Gaetz was busted driving drunk. He was tested. He refused a breathalyzer. In Florida, that's an automatic year in jail. Somehow, because his dad was a state senator, somehow he got off, okay?
This is at the impeachment hearings when Matt Gaetz is trying to shame or humiliate Hunter Biden's past.
Right. Yeah. He starts talking about Hunter Biden. He's like, who is this Hunter Biden? Well, I did a little research on him and I found this out, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it's basically the same thing that Matt Gaetz did. He was driving intoxicated in a car. And then Hank Johnson, another representative there, said, a very gentlemanly retort of calling the kettle black or whatever. This should have been a whole messaging campaign against the likes of a Matt Gaetz. They should have said things like, our hearts and prayers go out to Matt Gaetz and other people who have suffered from alcohol abuse. So that way it puts it everywhere, and people retweet it. People go on the news and be like, Matt Gaetz is really something. I mean, here he is, someone who's suffered from alcohol abuse and everything, calling someone else out like that. That's not what we need. There are thousands of people dying from drunk driving accidents all the time. It's not fair that Matt Gaetz, someone who himself was in a DUI, it's not right that he just, makes light of it. There are a lot of ways to message that the hell out of it, but they didn't, and they missed an opportunity. I'm not making these comparisons with World War II lightly, but let's just think about this, right? We didn't go over there with flowers saying, guys, not cool with all this killing. Well, can't we all just get along or whatever? No. We went there with the same weapons, the same ammo, okay, that the enemy had. We went in there, we killed Germans. They killed Americans and others. But my point is, we didn't go there into a battle and not fight with the weapons that are there. And that's what we're not doing, you know? We fought on the battlefield that was present. We didn't pretend that there wasn't a war. And war is ugly. It's horrible. But like, look at Germany now. They've got the biggest economy in Europe. They definitely learned their lesson. They're like a reasonable adult country now.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And you know,
more so than ours.
Yeah, and had we not entered the war, like who knows what the future would be.
I like your analogy because we didn't start World War II.
Exactly.
And we didn't start this war. And if we look to history, you had Neville Chamberlain appeasing Hitler and it just getting worse and worse. And that's where the Dems are now.
Exactly.
And what we need is Churchill.
Yeah, we don't need appeasers. I'm not saying this is an apples and apples comparison, you know what I mean? But I'm saying that there are literally right now, people are dying because of the Republican Party. There's legislation, you know, that they enacted are causing the deaths of countless of victims. You got people without health care, you know, accidents that are happening because of lack of regulation, you know, on the job accidents and all that. You have those bombs that go off. Remember the one in Texas that killed 30 people? And it turned out because, you know, they weren't regulating. You know?
Yeah, that was
there was one very recently, and then there was the one I'm talking about was a few years ago. There was one recently.
Yeah.
Like another bomb went off because of lack of regulation. And it's
it wasn't a bomb, but it was some industrial...
it was some explosion.
Yes, an industrial explosion.
Right.
And because there's no government or very lax government oversight, they can build residential areas right next to it.
Right.
Without any sort of precautions whatsoever.
That's what I'm saying. And these Republicans just want to get rid of every goddamn regulation. And it's like, what about the safety of our people? There's people dying, you know, people from Central South America, right? They're getting killed when we send them back. There's a lot of stories of people getting killed by the same gangs that people told them were going to kill them. And that's why they're trying to escape their country. We've got kids from Central and South America that are dying in American custody, that are getting sick and they're dying at the border. And, you know, remember those kids that were sick here because they had those rare diseases? Just to close up this little idea, this isn't a war, you know, like in the trenches with bombs and guns and everything, but it is a war of rhetoric, messaging, and narrative, okay, that in the long run can actually save real lives. That's what we're fucking talking about here.
That's it for this week. Please give us a rating on Apple Podcasts.
5 stars.
Yeah.
Please. The best. Habel.
See, even Trump wants us to have 5 stars.
These guys are great. They're real, true Americans. Heroes.
Thank you. You're a piece of shit. On Apple Podcast or wherever you download your podcast. Please also help spread the word. We're a new podcast, and word of mouth is how most podcasts get new listeners. So do it for America.
Yeah, do it for America, man. Be a patriot.
As always, thank you so much to our supporters. Please go to anchor.fm/epodibus to become one. This means a lot to us. Dan and I both put in a lot of work, and we really, really, really
and
do
a lot of time.
Yeah.
We're up late at night with headphones.
As always, we're at epodibus at Twitter and Gmail. We would love your feedback. Please tell us what you like, what you don't. If you have any ideas or things that you'd like us to cover. Remember, messaging is only half the battle. Mobilization is the other half. We have to call our congresspeople. We have to get involved.
Yep.
As always, also, we're looking for not even an intern, just someone to help us out. So if you like the show, you have some free time, or you know someone who, you know, might be into politics, send us an email.
You don't have to be smart either. We'll take people that are kind of dumb.
Yeah. I mean, look, we have Trump.
This is your president. I mean, I'm president. I'm stupid.
Say goodnight, Trump.
Good night, Trump.